Humanity had always assumed that they would be ready when the war came. They had advanced technology, powerful fleets, and the best-trained soldiers in the galaxy. But nothing could have prepared them for the arrival of the aliens. The moment they appeared in the skies, humanity realized how unprepared they truly were. The invasion wasn't just about military strength. It was a game of wits, and the alien race was always one step ahead. The first day was chaos. Cities fell in a matter of hours, and panic spread like wildfire. People ran through the streets, desperate for a chance to escape. The sound of sirens filled the air as the first wave of alien ships unleashed destruction. Buildings crumbled, and flames lit up the night sky. But amidst the fear and destruction, there was something else brewing, a secret hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered by the most unlikely person. In a quiet corner of the city, Lieutenant Noah Carter stood in shock as the military base he'd been assigned to was overtaken. His team had been deployed to a high-tech bunker, but the alien forces were relentless. He had no choice but to keep fighting, even when the odds were stacked against him. His eyes scanned the area, searching for any sign of hope. That's when he saw her. She wasn't like the others. While the alien warriors wore combat armor and wielded powerful weapons, she stood alone, her violet skin shimmering in the low light. Her eyes, however, were what caught Noah's attention the most. They were filled with a mix of fear and anger, a strange combination that only piqued his curiosity further. He couldn't look away. Her name was Zara, and her presence felt different from the others. She wasn't just another invader. There was something else about her. Noah's mind raced with questions. Why was she here? Was she part of the invasion force, or was she something more? It wasn't until a few moments later that he noticed something. A scar on her neck, faint but visible beneath the alien armor. It was an odd detail, one that didn't fit the perfect image of the warrior in front of him. He moved closer, drawn to the scar as if it held the answers to his questions. His fingers brushed the edge of her armor, and she flinched, pulling away quickly. She turned to face him, her expression shifting from confusion to something darker. "You should not have seen that," she whispered, her voice low and filled with warning. Noah's heart pounded in his chest. He hadn't meant to uncover a secret, but now he couldn't ignore it. She had been hiding something, and Noah was determined to find out what it was. What could a warrior like her be concealing? What had she been through? The scar told him nothing, but the way she reacted spoke volumes. The world around them continued to fall apart, but Noah was no longer focused on the battle. Instead, he found himself fixated on Zara and the mystery she carried with her. He had to know the truth. But little did he know, the discovery would lead him down a path that would change everything, starting with the war and everything they thought they knew about the aliens. He stepped closer to her, his mind racing as he struggled to make sense of what was happening. Zara stepped back, her eyes flickering with both fear and regret. "You have no idea what you've just uncovered," she said softly, almost pleading. But before Noah could respond, the air around them crackled with energy. The tension was rising, and Noah could feel that something big was about to happen. The first battle was only the beginning, and the true war was just getting started. But it wasn't just about fighting the aliens anymore. It was about uncovering the secret that Zara had been hiding, and how it could change the future of the galaxy forever. Noah's thoughts were spinning as he stared at Zara. Her cryptic words echoed in his mind, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something more was at play. The scar on her neck, the fear in her eyes, he needed answers. He had no choice but to follow her, even if it meant uncovering things that would shake everything he believed. Zara led him through a series of underground tunnels, her movements swift and practiced. Her silent determination only fueled Noah's curiosity. They were far from the front lines, in the hidden heart of the city, away from the chaos of the alien invasion. The walls around them were cold, metallic, and lit by flickering lights, casting shadows across the corridor. Noah could hear the faint hum of machinery working in the distance. This wasn't just a hiding spot, it was something else. As they approached a heavily secured door, Zara hesitated. Her hand rested on the console as if she were making a decision. "Once you enter, you can never turn back," she warned him. Noah didn't hesitate. He had come this far, and he wasn't about to back down now. He nodded, his jaw set in determination. "I'm ready," he replied, his voice steady despite the doubts creeping into his mind. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a large chamber. The room was filled with ancient technology, alien devices that hummed with power. It looked nothing like the war machines Noah had seen before. This place was hidden, isolated from the rest of the world. Zara stepped inside, gesturing for Noah to follow. He couldn't help but feel that this was no ordinary base. "Why am I here?" Noah asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zara stood in front of a control panel, her fingers gliding over it with precision. "What you saw is only the beginning. My people are not here to invade, Noah. We're here to save the galaxy, and you are the key," she explained, her eyes locking. With his, the weight of her words hit him like a ton of bricks. Noah blinked in disbelief. "Save the galaxy? How am I the key?" he asked, his voice laced with confusion. Zara stepped closer, her face inches from his. She seemed to search his eyes for something, as if trying to gauge his reaction. Finally, she spoke in a quiet tone. "You have a bloodline that connects you to the very origins of this conflict. Your ancestors were not just humans. They were the guardians of something powerful, something ancient. And now, it's time for you to reclaim it," she said, the mystery in her words making his heart race. His mind was spinning, trying to process what she had just revealed. His ancestors? Guardians of something powerful? None of this made sense. He was just a soldier, doing his duty, nothing more. But as Zara activated another console, the room began to shift. The walls illuminated, revealing a massive alien artifact at the center. It was glowing with energy, its shape unfamiliar yet ancient. "This is why they're here, Noah," Zara said, her voice filled with urgency. "They came for this. They want its power, and they'll stop at nothing to get it. That is why. You must protect it, or everything will be lost." Noah stepped closer to the artifact, his hand hovering over it. He didn't understand, but he felt the weight of Zara's words. It was as if something was calling to him, something deep within him, telling him this was his purpose. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The walls around them began to crack, and the sound of explosions echoed from above. The battle outside was escalating. Zara's face twisted in fear as she turned to Noah. "They found us," she whispered. "The time to act is now. If we don't stop them, everything will fall into chaos." Noah's heart raced. This was no longer about survival. This was about something much bigger than he could have ever imagined. He turned to her, the determination in his eyes. "What do I need to do?" he asked, his voice unwavering. Zara looked at him, her gaze filled with both hope and fear. "We need to activate the artifact, Noah. You're the only one who can do it. You must unlock its power before they do, or they will control everything." The weight of her words settled into him. He had a decision to make, one that could change the fate of the galaxy forever. Noah's hands trembled as he approached the alien artifact. The power it exuded was undeniable, an energy so ancient and pure that it seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Zara's eyes locked on him, her expression filled with both hope and fear. "You must do it now, Noah. It won't wait for you much longer," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. He could feel the urgency in her words, the weight of their mission bearing down on him. He stepped closer to the artifact, his pulse racing as he studied its intricate design. The surface was smooth, yet there was a strange warmth emanating from There were symbols carved into the metal, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Zara had told him he was the key, but how could a soldier like him unlock something so powerful? His mind raced, filled with doubt and confusion. Yet something deep within him felt drawn to the artifact, urging him to act. "You've got this," he muttered to himself, taking a deep breath. As his hand touched the surface of the artifact, the room began to shift. The walls seemed to stretch and warp as a surge of energy shot through him. A sudden vision overwhelmed his senses. A flash of memories that weren't his own. He saw himself not as a soldier, but as something more, something ancient, something powerful. His eyes snapped open. He gasped, a sense of understanding flooding his mind. The artifact was not just a weapon, it was a key, a source of untapped power that had been dormant for centuries. And somehow he was tied to it, destined to unlock its potential. Zara's voice echoed in his mind. "It's within you, Noah. The power of your ancestors runs through your veins. You just have to accept it." His hand glowed with a bright, radiant energy as he placed it firmly on the artifact. The air hummed with electricity, and for a moment, everything seemed to stand still. Then, the artifact responded. Its surface rippled like water, and a deep rumble shook the chamber. The walls around them lit up in bright, dazzling colors, illuminating the entire room in a blinding light. Zara stepped back, her eyes wide with awe and fear. "It's working," she whispered. "You're unlocking it, Noah. You're tapping into the power." The intensity of the energy was almost unbearable, but Noah fought to keep his focus. He could feel the power coursing through him, a surge of ancient strength that had been dormant for too long. Suddenly, the doors to the chamber slammed open with a deafening crash. The alien forces had arrived. Noah's heart skipped a beat as he turned to face the intruders. Zara stood beside him, her expression fierce and resolute. "They're here," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "But we're not going down without a fight." Noah clenched his fists, feeling the energy within him surge to the surface. The time had come. The fate of the galaxy rested on his shoulders. The artifact, his ancestors, and the war outside, it all came together in this moment. The door to his destiny was wide open, and he had no choice but to walk through it. The first wave of alien soldiers stormed into the room, their weapons raised. But Noah stood tall, the artifact's power thrumming through him. The air crackled with energy as he stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next. The soldiers hesitated for just a moment, sensing the shift in the balance of power. "Noah," Zara said, her voice steady, "you can do this. We fight together." Her words gave him strength, and in that moment, Noah knew what he had to do. With a roar, he unleashed the energy within him, sending a shockwave of raw power crashing into the alien forces. The room erupted in chaos as the first wave of aliens was sent reeling back by the force of his power. But this was only the beginning. More soldiers were on their way, and the battle was far from over. Yet Noah felt no fear. He had unlocked something deep within him, something ancient, and he was ready to fight for the galaxy. The artifact pulsed brighter, and Noah felt its energy merge with his own. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was something more. He was the protector the galaxy had been waiting for, and he would stop at nothing to ensure its survival. The room was alive with chaos, the air crackling with raw energy as Noah stood at the center of the storm. The power of the artifact surged through him, and every movement he made was amplified by its energy. He could feel the alien soldiers closing in, but there was no fear within him. The power flowing through his veins was undeniable. It was the strength of his ancestors, the same force that had shaped civilizations and determined the fate of worlds. Zara stood beside him, her eyes locked on the incoming wave of enemies. She knew they had to act fast or risk being overwhelmed. "We can't let them take control of the artifact." "Noah," she said, her voice low but determined, We have to fight back, or everything we've worked for will be lost. Noah didn't need any more encouragement. He was already moving, his body reacting instinctively to the surge of power within him. His hands glowed with radiant energy as he swung them outward, sending waves of force crashing into the advancing alien soldiers. The first wave was thrown back with a deafening impact, their weapons scattering across the floor as they struggled to regain their footing. The battlefield had shifted. What was once a fight for survival had turned into something more. Noah wasn't just defending himself anymore. He was an unstoppable force, and the aliens felt it. They were no longer sure they could win. Their confidence began to waver as Noah stood tall, unyielding, with the artifact's power coursing through him. But Zara's warning echoed in his mind. This is just the beginning. The alien forces wouldn't stop just because they had been pushed back. They would regroup, strategize, and come at them even harder. And Noah knew that his power had limits. Even with the artifact's strength, he couldn't fight alone forever. He needed more than just raw power. He needed strategy. "Hold the line," Zara said, her voice commanding as she adjusted her stance. "We can't let them get any closer to the artifact. The longer we hold them off, the more time we give ourselves to figure out how to defeat them for good." Noah nodded, his eyes scanning the battlefield. He had to stay focused. The battle had only just begun, and he could feel the energy within him starting to drain. The artifact was powerful, but it wasn't infinite. As he faced down the next wave of attackers, he realized that he had to pace himself if he wanted to last long enough to make a real difference. The second wave of alien soldiers advanced, their movements more coordinated than before. They had learned from their earlier failure, but Noah wasn't ready to back down. With a swift motion, he reached out, his energy pulsing outward like a force field. The soldiers recoiled, stunned by the sheer power of his attack, but they quickly regrouped, their numbers overwhelming the space around them. "Noah, behind you!" Zara shouted, her voice laced with panic. Noah spun around, just in time to see an alien soldier raising a weapon aimed directly at him. Without thinking, he reached out, using the artifact's power to redirect the blast. The shot ricocheted off the walls, and the soldier staggered back, disoriented. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized just how dangerous the situation had become. The artifact had given him the strength to hold his ground. But the alien forces were relentless. They weren't just after the artifact, they were after him. They knew he was the key, and they would stop at nothing to take him down. Zara moved to his side, her weapon drawn as she took down several soldiers. With deadly accuracy. "You're not alone, Noah," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We'll win this, but we need to keep moving. If we don't take the fight to them, they'll keep pushing us back." Noah nodded, his resolve hardening. The battle was far from over, and the stakes were higher than ever. With Zara by his side, he knew they had a chance. Together, they would face the alien forces head-on, using the artifact's power to their advantage. The next wave came quickly, but Noah was ready. He felt the power surge again, and this time he didn't hold back. He unleashed a full wave of energy, sending shockwaves through the chamber. The soldiers were thrown back, some slamming into the walls, others falling unconscious on the floor. But there were still more enemies, more challenges to overcome. As Noah stood in the center of the battlefield, surrounded by the alien forces, he realized something. He wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting for the future of humanity, for the future of the galaxy itself. And no matter how many enemies came at him, he would never give up. This battle wasn't over, not by a long shot. The air was thick with tension as Noah and Zara stood side by side, facing the growing army of alien forces. The battlefield had become a relentless storm of violence and chaos. The once quiet chamber was now filled with the sounds of clashing weapons, explosions, and the cries of warriors locked in combat. The energy around them surged, and Noah could feel the artifact's power pulsing through him. But he knew it wouldn't last forever. He glanced at Zara, her expression fierce, but determined. They had fought for hours, but the alien forces were relentless. The room was littered with the fallen, both alien and human, yet there were still more soldiers closing in. We can't hold them off much longer. Noah, Zara said, her voice steady despite the growing chaos. We need to make a final move, or we risk losing everything. Noah took a deep breath, his mind racing as he tried to come up with a plan. The artifact had given him immense power, but he had to use it wisely. They couldn't just keep fighting. They had to end this once and for all. As the alien forces regrouped, Noah felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He wasn't just fighting for his own survival anymore. He was fighting for the future of the galaxy. We need to find their leader, Noah said, his voice firm. If we can take out their command, the rest will follow. Zara nodded in agreement, and without another word, they moved as one, cutting their way through the alien ranks. The path to the command center was clear, but they had no time to waste. Every second counted, and the alien soldiers were closing in on them fast. As they reached the central command center, the doors slid open with a hiss, revealing a tall, imposing alien figure standing at the control panel. It was the leader, the one who had orchestrated the invasion, the one behind everything that had happened. His eyes glowed with a cold, calculating light as he turned to face them, his expression unreadable. So you're the humans who think they can stop us, the alien leader said, his voice deep and resonant. You should have known better than to challenge us. The galaxy will belong to us, and you will fall just like all the others. Noah's heart pounded in his chest, but he stood tall, facing the alien leader without fear. It's not over yet, Noah replied, his voice steady. As long as I stand, you won't win. The power of the artifact is mine, and it will be the key to our victory. The alien leader sneered, his eyes narrowing as he stepped forward. You're nothing but a pawn in a game you don't understand. You think you can wield the power of the artifact? You're mistaken. Noah's hands clenched into fists as the energy within him surged once more. You're wrong, he said, his voice filled with determination. This power was never yours to control, and it will never be used for evil. The battle between them intensified as the alien leader lunged toward Noah, his movements swift and deadly, but Noah was ready. He raised his hand, sending a blast of energy toward the leader, knocking him back with a powerful force. The alien leader staggered, his expression a mix of surprise and rage. You dare challenge me? He roared, his voice filled with fury. But Noah wasn't done. He gathered every ounce of power he had left, channeling the energy of the artifact through his body. With a shout, he unleashed a final surge of energy that sent the alien leader crashing into the far wall. The room shook, and for a moment, everything seemed to go still. The alien leader's body lay motionless, defeated. Zara stepped forward, her eyes wide with disbelief. You did it, she said, her voice filled with awe. You actually did it. The galaxy is ours. Noah stood there, his chest heaving with exhaustion. The battle was over, but the war had only just begun. He had faced the alien forces and uncovered the secret hidden within himself. But the power of the artifact was still a mystery. What other secrets lay hidden within its depths? What other challenges awaited them in the future? As Noah looked at the fallen alien leader, he knew this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of something much greater. The galaxy was still at war, and there would be more battles to fight. But for the first time in his life, Noah felt hope. He had unlocked the power within him, and now he was ready for whatever came next. The battle for the galaxy was over, but the journey had only just begun. And Noah was ready to lead the way.